Communication is the most important thing that we as humans can possibly do, and yet we're not all great at it. Hi, my name is Dr. Christy McMullen, and I believe we need to make work fun. Fun is such an important component to all things, right? We quit things that aren't fun. So we don't go to a movie a second time if we didn't like it the first time. We don't go on a second date if the first date wasn't amazing. We quit things that aren't fun. So if you don't make work fun, people quit. But what do I mean by fun? I mean creating a space where people really feel like they're being valued, appreciated, and communicated with effectively. So whether your main job is to be in policy or finance or an actuary or whatever your role is within this organization, whether you spend most of your time talking to internal clients or external clients, sales or internal sales, whatever it is that you're expected to do, you have to be an effective communicator. So what does that look like, and how can I create a space in a short amount of time to build for your entire conference? So here's my thought. I would want to spend the majority of my time making sure that I kicked off a true building community session. So during my session, everything would be very interactive. People would have a chance to get to know each other a little bit. They would learn each other's names. They would have a chance to think through and problem solve together. And that would all happen as the very first thing as this entire group of people who've never been together before got to come together for the first time. But in addition to that, I would want to put some tools in the tool belt of all of the people in the room. So whether they choose to use this information personally or professionally, they're going to become better communicators because of this conversation. So I wrote a book called Learning Can Stick, and in the book I talk about how you have to make every interaction safe, logical, fun, and memorable. So let me clarify that real quickly for you. Safe does not mean that you're following all of OSHA's rules. Safe means psychological safety. Safe means it's okay to ask questions, it's okay to make mistakes. Safe means that you know people's names and you know people's talents. So how do you create a safe environment, whether you're having a quick conversation with a potential client or you are doing a training with 300 people? Either way, you have to make it safe first. Logical is super important too, right? We have to have a plan and we have to stick to the plan. But unfortunately, what we tend to do is we forget to tell anybody else what the plan is. So what happens is people come into a meeting and they're feeling stressed because they don't know what to expect in that meeting. So I'm going to teach you how to make it logical. So safe, logical, fun, as I mentioned, is super important. If we don't make work fun, people quit. So fun does mean music in the break room, right? Or something silly, but fun also means that people's talents are being used, that people know what their place is in the organization and what value they bring, and people feel valued. See, our neurons only fire in our brain when there's some sort of emotion tied to what we're doing. So if you're not evoking any emotion in your meetings or in your trainings, then people really are just checking out, and we cannot afford for that to be the case. So how do you make it fun? And then last but not least, memorable. Memorable is about what happens post-conference, right? What happens post-meeting, what happens post-training. So I believe in the sprinkle, splash, flood, drip, drip, drip mentality. The sprinkle splash is what happens before the meeting that says, hey, we're going to talk about these 3 things and please bring X with you. The flood is the meeting itself. That's when you're really spending time getting into the nitty-gritty, and it's usually a ton of information, too much for anybody to actually absorb. So that's where the drip, drip, drip comes in. The drip, drip, drip is the opportunity to say, hey, I loved this. Let's talk about this next Tuesday, and I'm going to check in with you on Friday to make sure you got it. See, if we're not systematic in how we choose to communicate with people, people will simply forget what you said. And in business and in life, that is not something we can afford to do. So wouldn't it be great if you kicked off your conference with a space to say, I'm getting better personally and professionally. This is something I can turn around and use right away. Oh, and bonus, I met a whole bunch of people that I'm going to be working with. That to me sounds like a great way to kick off your conference, and I would love to answer any questions that you might have about how we can continue this relationship moving forward. Thank you.